Hello, film fans. Welcome to the Film vs. Film podcast. My name is Martin Harries, your host. I'm a filmmaker on occasion, but mainly can't stop yapping about movies. On this podcast, every episode I pick a topic from a film that's coming out at the cinema or on streaming. I pick a favourite film from that topic and battle it out against a guest to decide which film will become the greatest film of all time. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave us a 5-star review and subscribe. Please enjoy part 1. Hello, podsters and podderoonies. If you prefer, we are back again for another episode of the Film vs. Film podcast, and hopefully I get through this one without my cheeks falling off. This episode, as Send Help is out, the new Sam Raimi movie. I think we're all very excited for this one, all being horror fans, as I'm sure you listeners are as well. So we'll be talking Sam Raimi movies. I have another guest as well, as always, another returning guest from the League of Podcasts, John and Georgia from the Comfort Films podcast. How are you?
We are good. We've been missing in action for quite a while, so we're very happy that you've brought us back.
I'm glad you summoned us to be part of the League of Podcasts.
Yeah, that's right. Of course, we had to say yes to that.
Yeah, I mean, that's like saying no to the bat signal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my attempt to get these guys podcasting again. This is obviously, the part of the show where I ask you about your podcast and where can we find you?
So we are Comfort Films Podcast. Just in case you look us up and you're like, wait a minute, they haven't done a show for a while. That's correct. Last year we only did one, and then prior to that, we had been a weekly show for 3 years, and then an every other week show for a year. So we do have a lot of back episodes, over 100, for you to go back and revisit. And very soon, starting in February of this year, we're going to be back for a monthly show, starting with, I think, Inner Space.
Inner Space it is.
We watched it last year, planning to come back and do it in the summer, and that didn't happen. So we still have it on top of our mind, and we're planning to do that one next in February. So yeah, we are on pretty much any podcast platform. Most people listen through Apple or Spotify, other platforms available as well. And you can find us on Instagram under Comfort Films Podcast.
And if you're wondering what we do, we talk about comfort films sometimes, but most of the time, we usually just talk about movies that we like.
Which to us is a comfort film.
Yeah. So, I mean, we talk about classics such as Predator, where we've spoken with Martin, you know, and that was a really good time.
Excellent.
You know, we've talked about things such as Alien. And then, of course, we've also talked about many great films from the late Rob Reiner.
Yes.
Very sad to hear that. You know, you can check out our shows on Princess Bride, Stand By Me,
Spinal Tap.
Tap.
The Guns of Navarone as well.
Yes.
The Guns of Navarone with Martin.
And Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, which is one of my favorites. Yeah, that was a great one.
These were fun.
So yeah, classic comfort films sometimes, offbeat picks sometimes. We just like to talk to each other and our guests about what your favorite comfort films are, whether it is traditional or not.
Yeah.
And just really love talking about movies that we love.
Yeah. So if you want to come on by, we'd be happy to have you.
Yes.
Excellent. Yes, do check the Comfort Films podcast out. But obviously this podcast, we're talking Sam Raimi, and he has a new movie out called Send Help with Rachel McAdams. This one looks kind of really interesting. I think, you know, Raimi hasn't made a film since, like, you know, his Marvel exploits with the Doctor Strange movie for a while, it feels like. Well, certainly before then, it was a while. But what do we make of this one? It looks interesting, a bit more horror inspired, getting back to his roots a little bit. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it does too. I'm pretty excited about it, actually. I hadn't really looked into it until you contacted us about this, and I said, well, what Sam Raimi movie is coming out? So I ended up checking out the trailer, and it does remind me of some of his, like, more straight up horror films, like, I don't know, Drag Me to Hell maybe. And I'm pretty excited. I think Rachel McAdams' character in this looks interesting. You know, you have like your kind of middle-aged kind of career type person trodden on, who kind of gets a chance to dig deep and show who she is on the inside in like an emergency situation, and also some really sweet revenge that she gets to cook up, it looks like. So I don't know. I think it looks fun. I think what Sam Raimi does really well is like this mix of like horror and comedy and, kind of dark. Certainly when I think back to like Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, that's what I think about.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's going to be kind of a showcase for what he does really well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting because obviously when you think of like survival movies, when you have characters stuck on a deserted island, you think Castaway and things like that. But this very much feels like sort of an Enemy Mine type thing, Castaway, but like flipped on its head, where yes, I guess in the beginning they're trying to survive, but Rachel McAdams becomes very unhinged and maybe wants to kill the other guy, her horrible boss in the end. And she says in the trailer, like, I'm the boss now, or something like that. So it looks really interesting from that perspective.
Yeah, depending on what kind of a boss you have, though, you could maybe think of this as more like a fantasy film.
Yeah.
Well, it's what I thought was interesting is the first thing that came to mind for me, very old movie at this point, the Kevin Spacey, Frank Whaley film, Swimming with Sharks. Okay. And I don't know if you've ever seen that one. No. Frank Whaley has Kevin Spacey as a boss, cannot stand him, kidnaps Kevin Spacey and tortures him. And finally earns some respect in the end. And I think a promotion, perhaps.
Yeah, I believe so. It was I really loved that movie when I first saw it. So yeah, I haven't thought about it in a long time, but it's a good call out.
Yeah, it's something where I feel like we've got Swimming with Sharks mixed with like a Castaway, like you say. Yeah. And also Misery really comes to mind. Because it's like she is going to have this boss at her mercy. And you can tell there's going to be, something akin to like the hobbling scene with Kathy Bates, with James Caan. I'm interested to see what happens. And I also do enjoy these pared down films where we're going to have two people going head to head. It also made me think of another movie, but I haven't seen it in years and really don't remember it. The movie The Edge, with Alec Baldwin and Anthony Hopkins. Yeah. So out in the wild, two people just going crazy. Yeah, I think there's going to be something really neat. And with Sam Raimi, you're going to have some good laughs. And that it's going to be fun because this boss is so horrible that even in, the most horrendous torture, there's going to be a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah. How do you like it now, bud?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess going in that the only concern is maybe to that point as well is that you only have two characters. He's only got two characters to really play with when he gets on the island. How much room has he got to play with in terms of structuring like scenes, structuring scares, creating great like horror comedy moments? But we know he can do it. Maybe this is like a chance for him to really get back to basics and really get his creative juices flowing again with some limitations, like in the early days with Sam Raimi. So yeah, I think that'll be really interesting to see what he comes up with in terms of the horror comedy stuff.
Well, and it's also in terms of like villains, I'm with you, Martin. That's something that like when I talk to Georgia, this is hard for me a lot of the time. And many times I've been proven wrong. And that is, if I have a horror movie, I need a bunch of people to get killed. Otherwise, I feel cheated. Like, I need to see like a good 5 or 6 go down. Then I feel happy, right? And so in this, it's like, okay, so you got one person to kill? That's kind of like, what does that take? 10 minutes? So it's just in this, I think, where it's going to
be a slow process.
That
goes back to the Misery thing. There was never a moment when I was watching Misery where I was like, gosh, I wish there were more people and that were getting killed.
Well, it's that movie. I mean, and this is another thing. This is just my own deal. I can't do torture in movies. Like, I really just like check out. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And so that's my own problem. But in terms of enemies in this is something to think about. Okay, in terms of human enemies, okay, there's only one other that we see, but we have the elements. You know, we have the ocean, we have,
a wild boar,
the animals. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like we've got these
There's
other
a
things.
human versus nature element as well. Yeah. So I
Thank
think
you.
that can be the escalation that we're looking for. You know, it's like, are they going to get rescued? Are they going to, what's going to happen, and what's going to happen to their relationship before that happens? So I think there's just a lot to work with. I don't know. I have faith in it, but like with the torture thing, for me, I understand what you're saying, because if it's a realistic kind of a movie, then that does bother me. But if it's more in kind of like this, I don't know, not cartoony type way, but like, I don't know, when there's like a humor in it, if he can balance like dark humor, I think that it will be okay for me.
Well, it's like Reservoir Dogs has the humor, right? And it has the style. I'm still like, oh, I can't watch it. I can't watch
gory
it.
kind of though. And then like, we used to have something like Hostel or something, which I can't watch at all. No. Because there's totally humorless and gory and tortury. So, I don't know. I think it just depends on what he does. But if I think back to what he's best known for in my mind, I could be wrong, but would be like Evil Dead 2. Yeah. And those movies were very much centered pretty much. Like the first one was more ensemble. The second one was more like Bruce Campbell, just going on a playground rampage with demons and blood and weird stuff. Shotguns. I think that like, Evil Dead 2 is universally recognized as a pretty great film. So I think that if he can kind of tap into what he had there in some way, that I think he'll be able to manage it.
Yeah, and it's like we could have Rachel McAdams really just lose her mind.
And like she looks like she
looks proper unhinged.
Yeah, she does. She looks like, even when she's in the office, like at the beginning of the movie, she's just like so angry and so like enraged inside. And so I can just see like once she's able to just release that, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So
there could be like a play on Evil Dead, like when Ash loses his hand, right? And then it's like we come back. I mean, I just was kind of playing it out in my head, like for some reason you need to cut off your hand, I don't know, snake bite, whatever, and then it's just like you just stick like a piece of driftwood into the stump and you think you're superhuman now. So I think there could be,
I don't know.
But God, that's dark.
Just need to see a scene of Rachel McAdams like carving a hand from a bit of wood. That'll work.
That would be great. Just that was most of the movies. Just
or maybe they just happen to have a chainsaw.
Yeah. Leave enough room for my fist when I ram it into your stomach.
Different movie.
No, still good though.
Yes, of course.
So, what is your choice, guys, for Sam Raimi movies?
So we went with the 2000 film The Gift, which is Cate Blanchett starring as Annie, who is kind of a person with psychic powers in this small southern town, which is full of dysfunctional people. And, it's funny to me when we were watching, I said, it's kind of like Southern people's attitude toward mental health is we don't have to talk about that. And so they end up using her as almost like a therapist in this town. But basically she gets drawn into a mystery, a murder mystery that occurs. And so it's a mystery with supernatural elements. It's directed by Sam Raimi, but it was written by Billy Bob Thornton and Tom Epperson, who's his writing partner, kind of based on Billy Bob Thornton's own mother, who was a medium as a job. So Annie is very much based on her and her powers. And so I thought that it was an interesting pick because it wasn't necessarily like your classic Sam Raimi movie to me. I do think it has some elements of his style, but it definitely does work with, this Billy Bob Thornton kind of, in my opinion, Billy Bob Thornton kind of way of looking at things as well. And I think that Billy Bob Thornton really, his sensibility kind of bleeds into the movie a lot. It's got a great ensemble cast.
Incredible. Yeah.
And some really kind of surprisingly intense performances from a few people for a kind of a movie that went a little bit under the radar, maybe. We considered a lot of other Sam Raimi movies, because Spider-Man 2, we really enjoy. Obviously, like the Evil Dead movies, Drag Me to Hell was very popular, although I'm not sure that I liked it as much as everybody else did. But we ended up going with The Gift because I think that the story is something that we both really enjoy. We love a mystery, and having the supernatural element kind of is a little bonus. And then just the cast was really good, and thought it would just make a good discussion for us on the show.
Yeah, so initial reactions for me, there's a lot to like here, and there's a few frustrations I have with the film. But overall, I think it's a pretty decent movie. Incredible cast, I must say. Like, the acting is top notch, and I think certainly there's one element of the film which is incredible, another which is fine, and then the other is like, I'm not sure. But yeah, I think overall it's got some real great rewatch value for certainly one element, and that's the acting. I'm not really hiding that very well, I may as well just say it. So, yeah, I loved the acting in this. Everything else is fine. Yeah, what was your initial reactions to this one, guys?
It's funny because we saw this a long time ago. I mean, we didn't see it when it came out, but we probably saw it like, I don't know, 2 years later or something. I think we probably rented it at Blockbuster or whatever, and came home and watched it. And probably didn't have too many expectations on it because, again, it was pretty under the radar. But when you look at the people who are in it, you're like, okay. I mean, Cate Blanchett, I'd pretty much watch her do anything. She's phenomenal. And I take it that, like, Billy Bob Thornton really wanted her in this, and that's how she ended up getting into it, because they had worked together on Pushing 10, and for whatever reason, he was writing this at the time and was like, I'm writing this movie, I really want you to read it, and she really liked it and wanted to be in it, and she does carry it very much. Giovanni Ribisi also goes
to town,
harder than anybody. Like, I mean, this is like I think he's a pretty good actor. I mean, he usually does go pretty intense with things, and I think this is maybe one of the first times I really saw him do that and went like, whoa, like this guy's going for it, because it's very intense performance. Like, he's an abused person who clearly has tons of repressed issues with that, and like mental health issues and stuff. And I mean, you just see that play out and just escalate over the course of the movie in a really serious way that's very affecting to me. I think a lot of when this came out, like, a lot of this discussion was around like Katie Holmes like being naked, which is like, who really cares? Like, honestly, people have boobs. Shocking. But and honestly, with her kind of, just slutty rich girl from the small town performance, it is what it is. I thought Greg Kinnear was good. Like, I do. So with the script itself, I actually like this story. I think it's a bit predictable because there's only a certain number of people in it. I mean, like, how many people could this really be? Who done it? Like, Keanu Reeves is such an obvious, like, red herring, like, that you just know, and his performance is 50-50 for me personally. I think sometimes he's really good, and sometimes you're just like, it's Keanu Reeves, please stop. Because I think, we have this thought about who Keanu Reeves is as a person, and that's only gotten more like the same as it's gone along. And here he's trying to play like a real bad guy with a real nasty streak, and he can only take it so far for me. But I do think this is pretty well written when it comes to the plot, necessarily, because again, there's only so many people who could have killed this person, and one of them is pretty obviously not the person. So it kind of, is a bit on the nose, a bit obvious. However, for me, because, and this may just be Georgia thing, right? Because I'm from the South of the U.S. and I grew up in like the small town, kind of like this, where everybody knows your business, but there's still all these secrets. And so there's this weird kind of paradox inherent in growing up in a place like that, because like literally people would call my parents and tell them what I had been doing and be like, well, I saw Georgia, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why is this your problem? Like, you have no life. You have to like be, looking at me and what I'm doing. But at the same time, these people had skeletons in their closet. Like, so it's like, it's a known skeleton, but it's still a skeleton. And it's this weird thing. And I think that's something that Billy Bob Thornton did a fantastic job of capturing in the script. And I think Raimi understood it as well and was able to really put that up on screen in a believable way for me, who kind of has lived this stuff. I mean, it kind of goes, it also goes with like what I was saying about her having like these psychic powers, Annie having these psychic powers, is like Donnie which is Keanu Reeves, keeps saying that she's like a devil worshiper and all this kind of stuff, which again, very real. Like, really? I was interested. I liked like metal music when I was in high school and I wore black clothes. People would call my mom all the time to ask her. Yes, I'm not even joking. This is not a joke. People would call my mother to ask her if I was okay, if I was getting involved with Satan worship. Like, this is real. Like, this is real. It sounds insane, but it's very real. I mean, I was only about 2 hours away from where the West Memphis 3 incident occurred. Which was very much about, guys getting arrested because they were heavy metal music fans, and some kids ended up dead, and it was easy to pin it on these people because they didn't understand them, and these guys ended up in jail, for years. And I was only, maybe a 2.5 hour drive from where that occurred. So very similar. And I think that element of the film rang true to me as well. So when it comes to like the plot stuff, it's a bit surface. Yeah. But structurally, I think the film is well written overall. And I also really think that it does a lot capturing like the mood of what it's like to live in that kind of a place.
Yeah, for me, like that's one certainly the aspect of the film that I really liked, is just sort of these insecurities from all these different characters in their relationship to Annie Wilson, Cate Blanchett's character. You've got certain characters that really want to see their fortune, their future, and others that really just want her out of town, gotten rid of. And I kind of wish the film kind of focused even more on that aspect. And there's an argument to be said that, do you even need like the real heavy plotty stuff with the murder mystery? Can the film work without that, like through like just pure character development through that? I don't know, but yeah, what did you make of this one, John, initially?
Well, it's interesting. So The Gift came out in 2000, which for me was a time when I didn't have time to go to the movies. I had started a full-time job, and then I was also running a theater company. And around this time I was doing like improv comedy. And then like, I was doing like stuff all the time. So like, I barely even have a memory of doing anything other than the things I worked on during this period. I do remember somewhere in the back of my head seeing a trailer for The Gift, and I was instantly interested. I'm a huge fan of mysteries. And, they had the supernatural element. And at this point, I don't even think I was really cognizant of who Sam Raimi was. I was just like, oh, okay, this looks really cool, And Cate Blanchett is amazing. And she's such a fantastic actress that when you just see her face, you're just like, oh, yeah. And that shot they have of her walking down the middle of the road, that wide shot, you're just like, okay, this is some otherworldly stuff that I want to see. What is this? So I felt like they did a great job of building it up. So when I finally came around to seeing it, this is interesting because I was different than both of you guys. I absolutely had no idea who committed the murder. I thought that Gary Cole committed the murder. I was very convinced. Yeah. I was like, Gary Cole. See, I fell for it, guys. And so I was like, Gary Cole did it. No way. And so I was like, okay, I'm invested in this. With the Keanu Reeves performance, it was something where I was really excited to see him do something different. Now, this was the same year that he did The Watcher, where he was also a villain. So this was like the year of evil Keanu. And You know, I saw him later, actually, much later in the movie Man of Tai Chi, and he's a bad guy in that. And I would say that's the best bad guy for my money that I've seen from him.
Well, he tried to do it in Much Ado About Nothing too.
Oh yes,
John, and it was very let's just say it's all right.
Look, I get it in a sense, because it's like, for me, it's like, so here's the thing that I've had for years, right? So I'm in LA, I'm an actor, and you'll get auditions for different parts. And anytime there's a role for somebody that's really evil, like, I mean, I literally could like take apart the person's office, you know, and like, they would just be like, he's just too nice. So it's like, I'm like, okay, I get it. It's like, I feel like I'm doing it, right?
Yeah, no.
But to the outside person, they're like, I don't quite know what this is.
I'm also taping you doing it, and I'm like, wow, this is awful. But like, for me, it is, because it's very different from you. But I think these people are just kind of responding to like your natural, just fun guy energy. Yeah, like your Labrador Retriever kind of attitude.
You need to grow your beard out, grow your hair out. That might.
It don't matter what I've done. Like, you wouldn't believe the things that we've shot for self tapes in the kitchen.
And he's gone out for he went out for a role on Mindhunter where he played one of the serial killers, and it was terrifying when I'm taping it in the kitchen. But then, apparently not terrifying enough. And then the guy that they did cast for it is super sleazy and gross. So I get it. I mean, I was like, sorry, John, you're not that sleazy.
Well, it's interesting because Keanu Reeves, in talking about the part, really understood what he was playing and why he was playing it. So he got it, right? And I felt that, he didn't try to go too hard with the accent. I know accent can be a slippery thing, and in both of these films, we can certainly talk about accent, and sometimes the accent being an impediment to your work.
A Southern accent, a bad Southern accent, does send me off into a bad place. Tom Hanks, anyway.
Yeah. So it's just, I mean, with Keanu Reeves, I felt like, it's like he had everything there, but what came through in the final product wasn't terrifying. And I've met people that are terrifying, and I've seen them do terrifying things, like commit murder in broad daylight, but my point is like, I wish
that was a joke, but right now it kind of isn't. But anyway,
so it's just like, what I'm saying is, you have these people that they can turn on this evil, whether they are or not. And with Keanu Reeves, it was like on a 1 to 10, 1 being tame, 10 being the most evil thing. I'd say he hit somewhere in the 6 to 6.5 range for me.
Very generous. I would have gone like 3.
Well, because there is something that I have to say. There's an element to scariness. And scariness has these levels. And the best thing that he did, and I'll tell you what that is for me, is when he shows up at Annie's house and he's all sweet and lovable at the front door. And then he gets himself inside the house. This is very much the behavior of someone who is evil. And then he starts playing with the baby toys, right? And then starts like talking about the kids. This is a really sinister way to get into someone's head. So I felt like the path was there. But when he had to show this rage and this anger, unless there was a physical component, like we have later on when he drags Hilary Swank out.
Yeah.
And I actually thought that scene, by the way, was quite strong. And I read something. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but I thought this was very interesting if it is, which is when they shot that scene at Annie's house, when Keanu comes in and he pulls out Hilary Swank, drags her through the house, they only had enough time to do one take because the light was going. So they set up cameras in every room, and they shot that as one continuous take. And I have to say that scene has a really strong kinetic energy to it. When Keanu Reeves pulls Hilary Swank through and then the paint can comes over, Cate Blanchett falls. Again, when Keanu Reeves is physically attacking Hilary Swank, there's no way that you can say, oh, he's a nice guy. He's not. It's just, there's something about, it's hard to pinpoint it, but I know what it is. And the reason I know what it is as an actor, I may feel it, but you may not see it. And I feel that, he might have that going for him.
See, it's funny to me that you thought that scene with him trying to get into the house was scary or whatever, because I did not. I thought that.
Oh, really?
That was kind of a whiff. I thought.
Did you, Martin? Did you think it was scary?
Well, I think the direction certainly helps. This sort of like handheld nature of the directing kind of definitely gives it this sort of very present, unpredictable feel, which I kind of liked. Also, to Keanu Reeves, I didn't really hate his performance. Well, you guys aren't saying you hated it, but like I didn't mind it so much. It's kind of because obviously we're all used to Keanu Reeves as this lovable action hero a lot of the time, and it kind of took me aback a little bit that the fact that he is this kind of aggressive Keanu Reeves, and it does have a little bit of a scary quality to me. But certainly that scene especially, yes, I think but it's not, I'm not saying it's amazing. It's just quite unexpected for something for Keanu Reeves, and certainly the direction helps him in that scene in particular. And Giovanni Ribisi, when he's got scenes with him, he completely outshines him, and it kind of exposes his acting a little bit as well.
That's actually the scene that I would say I liked with Keanu Reeves the most, because his character, like the whole thing with the character Donnie, is that he thinks he's like the baddest guy in town, right? Like he has the cops in his pocket, which is very true. Stuff like that definitely happens in those towns as well, and he can beat up his wife and do whatever he wants, and he's cheating on her and going around with everybody. But when he has that one scene where he's talking to Cate Blanchett's son, and he kind of grabs his arm and pulls him up to the truck, that part was kind of scary to me. I thought he was kind of scary, like when he was talking to the child and kind of, intimating to the kid what he was going to do to their family. But then Giovanni Ribisi drives up, sees what's going on and intervenes, and goes completely nuts. And in that part, that's when Keanu Reeves actually, to me, did his best work, because it's when this guy who thinks he's the baddest guy in town meets somebody who shows him that he is also vulnerable, because Giovanni Ribisi could have done anything. Like, he grabs a tire iron, smacks the crap out of the truck, breaking the windshield, like smacking it into he could have hit Keanu Reeves at that point easily.
Yeah.
Like, because he was unhinged and he wasn't paying attention to what he was doing. We've seen Giovanni Ribisi's character, Buddy, have these violent outbursts already. So we know that he could do whatever when he's in this kind of mind state. And then, like, Keanu Reeves thinks, oh, I'm going to pull this gun on him because I'm in charge. And he just, like, puts it on his forehead and says, shoot me, shoot me, shoot me. And at that point, Donnie, like, realizes, like, I can't, there's nothing I can do. Yeah. Like, this person is way crazier than me.
He can't compete with him with craziness.
And maybe that's Keanu Reeves recognizing he can't compete with Giovanni Ribisi in this scene with acting, too. So maybe there's a reality that's bleeding through or something. But that was the scene that really, one of the scenes that really stuck with me. I mean,
well, when he does the turn, when Giovanni Ribisi goes from kill me, motherfucker, and then, Keanu drives away, then he just turns around and he's sweet as pie to the kid. Are you okay? Yeah. Like,
I mean, even before that, he shows incredible, like, vulnerability with his acting, and certainly throughout the film, like, you can sense from scene to scene, you can sense this bubbling rage is coming to the surface all the time. And I love that scene with Keanu Reeves as well in his truck, and he's got a tire iron, and he's literally calm as anything. And he, even to the point where he's gripping it with both hands, he's still pretty calm. And then all of a sudden, like a click of his fingers, he explodes on the truck. Yeah, and then somehow goes to another level, as you were saying, Georgia, when Keanu gets his gun out and he puts his forehead to it. Yeah, it's just quite extraordinary, really. It's certainly acting that and screaming that really worries sound men. It's amazing.
Yeah, you gotta go to the sound people in that one. I don't know, maybe they ADR'd it, but like, Yeah, that was, yeah. I think, honestly, when I go back and watch this again, there's probably three things that I'm watching it for. One is Kate Blanchett, because I think she's great.
Yeah.
The other thing is Giovanni Ribisi, because from start to finish, everything he does is pitch perfect to me. I think he's fantastic in this. Like when he, at the end, he comes back and he's a ghost. And I think, if I knew that was what was happening at the time when I first watched the movie, I was like, oh, there's no way this is really him. And he also was doing a different kind of performance there. Like the buddy that shows up again, even though he brains, this guy with the Greg Kinnear with the flashlight, even though he's doing like these physically like, insane violent things, he's calmer. Like he has this like at peace kind of a feel. And so I could tell, like, okay, this is not, the buddy from earlier in the thing.
And he also has the power to, like, somehow convey that he's a ghost.
Yeah.
I don't know how the hell you do that. Like, when they have that shot of him, when Kate Blanchett goes in to the police station and we have that haunting shot of Ribisi in the car, and it gave us goosebumps both times.
It still does. And even if I watch it out of context, we saw like the trailer today or something, and they just have that one scene out of context where she looks back at the car and he's in the car. Something about whatever he's doing, and it's not just him, it's like the lighting, it's like all the decisions that Sam Raimi and his creative kind of filmmaking team made as well. But that he's a ghost there, and it really messes you up. I mean, it's creepy. Like, it's super creepy and sad too.
It's terrifying to me.
Yeah,
like,
it is scary.
I mean, there's something really off about it. Like, even like if I didn't know anything about the film and I saw that shot, I'd be like, what the hell happened? What's going on out there?
That guy can't move so fast and close the door really quietly.
Well, it's I don't know. I just love the character of Buddy is so interesting to me. And this goes to the writing in addition to the acting, because, you created this character who is severely mentally ill, emotionally damaged, highly sensitive type of person in a place and time and situation where that is certainly not a plus. And you also just don't know exactly what's going on with him at first. Like, the one thing that I do remember really well when we first saw the movie is, like, you have the scene where, like, Kate Blanchett goes to get her car fixed, or her door isn't shutting, and he says he'll drive her home, and he really cares about her. Like, he, you can tell this guy, I didn't know at first if he was, like, a little bit slow mentally or something. Like, I didn't know what's going on with this guy. And I think Giovanni Ribisi had played that kind of a challenged character before, so I was like, oh, are we doing this again? But, like, as he's driving her there, he, like, slams on his brakes, has, like, a major mental breakdown. He's, like, screaming for help and stuff like this, and then he says, like, this line about, like, if I look into a blue diamond and have a negative thought, am I gonna die? And I remember being like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Like, you're just like, what? I mean, something is wrong with this guy, you just don't know what it is. And I thought they managed that really well in the writing and in the acting. And then, like, later on, you find out that this is his father, like, sexually abusing him, and that's, like, a big secret, even and like the biggest kind of secret that you really don't know that's happening.
I had no idea what the hell the blue diamond was.
Neither one of us.
I was like, what the hell are we talking about?
To the point where we've kind of made it into a little bit of a joke, like, just amongst ourselves. Like, it's not funny in the context of the movie at all, but it's just like, when you first hear that, you're like, what is this?
I was just like, is he secretly rich and just doesn't know how to convert the money or something? I don't know.
He into crypto?
Yeah. Like, I mean, crypto. Yeah, like,
early crypto.
You don't know what's going on, and it's, like, so weird. And of course, like, this is a situation where Kate Blanchett, who has a lot of, psychic ability and, like, can know things that people can't know. The problem with that is, like, interpretation. Like, she'll see something, but she doesn't know what it means. And with him, like, she's trying to help him, and she has the sense that there's something going on with him with his childhood and some bad thing, but she can't tell what it is.
Yeah, something's been taken away from you. Your dad took something away from you.
And he's not telling her, so it's like the psychic thing kind of is a little bit, wobbly. I think in real life, I see that with mediumship as well. Like people will be doing readings for people and it's a two-way street. Like it's not like they can just tell you like these are all the details. They'll just tell you like these things that you then fill in the blanks on because it's BS. But like, I mean, at least from my perspective, we're talking BS. But like, cold readings are a thing. So I'm not saying that maybe some people don't have some sort of ability to see something, whatever. But 90% of the time, it's somebody's, scamming you.
Yeah, and obviously they do reference that in the court scene. Like, they definitely go into all different types of angles to do with, foresight and psychic abilities in this, which I find really interesting. And they certainly do try and keep it grounded to a certain level with how much of an ability she has. And obviously, they work with that to create the best story they can. But certainly going back to Giovanni Ribisi, like with the Blue Diamond stuff, and you discover that, his dad has been abusing him. And that's quite an incredible, like, unhinged scene from him. Incredible acting, like when he's whipping his father. And he literally, like, attacks Cate Blanchett as well when she arrives on the scene. That's quite difficult to watch. And, like, credit to Sam Raimi as well. He doesn't cut around it. He tries to keep that as real as possible. I definitely feel like there's a restrained quality with Sam Raimi's directing as well, especially in that scene in particular.
Well, it's scary because what makes that scene even more terrifying is the first thing that happens that we see is we actually see Ribisi hugging his father. And then he goes back to attacking him. So it's even more like, holy shit. Then you have the confrontation with the mother. I mean, the stakes in that scene are so high and so hard, and it's just like, and it answers something because the Blue Diamond question lingers in your head the whole time. Literally, I kept going back to it. I didn't know, what exactly we were doing. And, when you had this reveal and it was this horrendous, twisted thing that both the parents knew about, and he was getting justice, we find ourselves in a really strange position as the audience, in that we want this character to have justice. And it's just like, okay, there's justice. And you're like, wait, is this justice? Is this going too far? What is this? Like, you can't answer it.
No, you can't.
And he plays with your emotions so well in that scene.
I think Sam Raimi's restraint there is to let you decide. Like, it's kind of to allow you to like think like, what do you, what are your thoughts on this? And I think that's interesting and a really interesting, thoughtful choice. It's interesting also that you're saying like about the restraint, because we had watched a little interview and Raimi was talking about that his wife had read the screenplay first and kind of pushed him to read it. And he put it down because he thought it was too dark. Like he felt like, this is too dark for me. And she was saying, no, keep reading it. And because of the character of Annie, that kind of ended up pulling him in because he saw her journey through the film as being one of like, from darkness into more of a light place and overcoming all of these dark things that were occurring. So he liked, pushing into that place. But I think, it's funny to me because I do think like Sam Raimi deals with a lot of really dark things in his movies, but this was kind of like almost a bridge too far for him in some ways. And
everything
I think we see that.
Everything has a comedic twist or a comedic view. We see horror, we see terror, but there's always humor, right? And Evil Dead, Bruce Campbell keeps us laughing. Like in Drag Me to Hell, there was some crazy humor that we had.
Yeah, with like the weird old people.
Yeah, right? And Spider-Man, we have the humor, right? And then Doctor Strange, we have the humor. So it's like he always comes through these things through the lens of humor. So he is a comedy horror specialist. And this strips away all of the comedy.
There's not any comedy here.
No, this is a pure drama. This is as hard as it gets. And you really need to appreciate that he was brave enough as a director to go into this. And I mean, all of the people that he picked, I mean, you can go through his casts and you go, oh, wow. But I mean, when you look at the cast in this, like Hilary Swank, this was her first movie after Boys Don't Cry. Kim Dickens is in this very briefly, but you're like, oh, wow. Chelsea Ross, a veteran actor, fantastic as the father. J.K. Simmons as sheriff. I loved him as the sheriff.
He's like the funniest character.
He is.
He is.
He is the one that has. Yeah, he is. He does. Because he has that stupid line about the donut.
Yeah.
That he is the person that does bring us at least a little relief. Yeah, you need it. I feel like in this movie, it's so hard we need it. And I mean, we haven't talked about him yet, but I got to tell you guys, I really thought Greg Kinnear brought the thunder. And when he had these scenes with Cate Blanchett, the scene where he's outside and it's like they're at the party, they're outside and he's having a cigarette talking to Cate Blanchett. He's like, I have no idea where Katie Holmes is. Brilliant.
I thought he was great all the way through.
He was so strong.
And he was scary in like a kind of a silent way. Like
I didn't see it coming. I didn't because he's so nice, right? We know him from what? As Good as It Gets. We know him from like all of these kind of comedies. You never pictured Greg Kinnear as a stone cold killer. So when he pulled the mask off, and I got to tell you, I bought it. I was like sick to my stomach. I'm like, Greg Kinnear, what did you do to me? I trusted you,
that.
pal.
I love that you were so betrayed by Greg Kinnear. No, I mean, I agree. I thought Greg Kinnear did a great job. I think he's pretty dependably good in everything. I don't think he's a bad actor. I'm trying to think of anything I've seen him in that I thought he was crap. I haven't. I thought he's good. And in this, it wasn't really, it's not to his type. And I felt that he leaned into that and just kept playing the good guy. Even while he's like bashing Cate Blanchett in the head, it's like, I don't want to do this, and
that's like a Jackie Chan move. Yeah. I don't mean to do this. I don't want to.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I have to beat 20 people up right now. Yeah. I mean, that was, I felt like it was really pretty well done with him.
How about the scene on the couch? When they were going to have sex.
God.
Oh my God. Wow.
Awkward.
Well, their chemistry was pretty good the whole time. Like I was like, oh, they'll get together. And I'm like, oh wait, no, he definitely killed Katie Holmes. So never mind.
When did you know? When did you guys know he did it? I need to know this.
The problem is that I'm a big mystery reader. I read a lot of mystery. I watch a lot of mystery.
I'm essentially illiterate. So that counts me out. What about you, Martin?
Well, I think it's... with about 20 minutes to go, I think 25 minutes.
Okay, so you had a good part of the movie.
Yeah, I think it's just because the lawyer character is just not in it enough, and there's just no way it's going to be Keanu Reeves. It's just too on the nose. And then you're just left with Greg Kinnear, so it could only be one guy. So
I think I knew when they were in the principal's office.
No shit.
Yeah.
What tipped you off? I want to know.
Two things. First of all, he's just like too nice. Like he's just the nicest nice guy who ever niced. And like it's not, I mean, that's who it's going to be. Because again, I read it like a ton of Agatha Christie, all the Sherlock Holmes, like all these classic mystery, and then into like cozy mysteries now. I read a lot of mysteries. I also, watch a lot of them. And
so
mystery
least
TV
likely
shows.
suspect.
So
that was
first of all, least likely suspect is part of it. But the other thing is, because I guess, this is me taking like a pretty huge intuitive leap, which I will admit could be wrong sometimes. But the fact that when Katie Holmes is like, oh, are we going to live happily ever after? Like she sees her dad like right there next to Kinnear. Like it just made kind of a thing where I was just like, oh, because he's going to kill her. And it's just a feeling. And then it just bears out because like Martin says, like Gary Cole, sure, he's a sleaze bag. Nobody's going to say he's not. He did a great job playing that part.
He fucked her fast. He did his part.
He's kind of a, he is what he is. And he also doesn't want to reopen the case. So they give him a lot of good, meat to work with as a red herring. But he isn't in it enough. We don't know him well enough to be betrayed by him. Greg Kinnear, you're all on the Greg Kinnear team. You're like voting for him as mayor. You know,
I would have.
You're ready. You put all your faith in him. So it's going to hurt worse when you find out that he killed Katie Holmes.
Do you notice that Gary Cole is like doing this weird thing with a pen that almost looks like sex? Like it's really like, I'm serious. He's like playing with his pen, and I'm like, is he actually making like a sex move with the pen?
It's
like I don't know.
Have to watch that again, y'all.
Yeah, but so you check it out. Maybe I'm like overplaying it. Maybe it's because we had to put the subtitles on because the audio wasn't really happening right, and I was like, I didn't see that right, but I thought I did. And then again, all I think
simulate
about
sex with pen and hand.
Let me get my point across. All I could think about was Reese Bobby, by the way. I was like, Reese Bobby.
Yeah, because
Reese Bobby the lawyer.
Yes, I get it.
No, but I don't know. Like, I usually am terrible at guessing anyone who is the murderer. And then what I started to do is going least likely suspect. That was my next move.
Yeah, sure.
Because then that was usually my guy.
I wish that I didn't know. I always know. I wish I didn't know. It's awful.
And also...
You have a gift.
I do. I don't want it. I'll give it back. Returning my gift.
I think there's a little bit of a giveaway as well. I think at a party scene, and when you see the lawyer like shagging Katie Holmes, and then later when Kate meets Greg Kinnear, he's like, I'm trying to find my wife. This seems to happen a lot or something.
Okay.
You know, and I'm like, that's a bit of a giveaway. Going back
that make sense?
Yeah. Going back to sort of the direction of the film, I quite liked sort of this slow burn nature of the film, which obviously is you're not really accustomed to with a Sam Raimi picture. You know, Cate Blanchett's character Annie Wilson in this sort of tarot card reader, but seems to be like a very normal single mother dealing with normal issues with her kids. Then when she's in this sort of head teacher's office with Katie Holmes and Greg Kinnear, we see this pencil like roll off the desk and falls off onto the floor, and it seems to be slightly flooded with a pair of moldy bare feet of Katie Holmes.
Oh man!
In slow-mo. It was just a very clear indicator that, you know, Cate Blanchett had some sort of supernatural power, you know, that she can see the future. So I thought it was kind of a cool way to sort of ease you into this film a little bit. So a little bit of a different kind of take from, you know, Sam Raimi that we're not used to. And even with like some of the dramatic and suspenseful scenes with like this strangulation vision scene, and then we have like Annie thinks there's somebody in the house and finds like Satan spelled out in her cards on the bed. There's a lot of like classic Sam Raimi direction, but it kind of feels a little bit more restrained, sort of what I was saying before, but you still have like the classic push-ins and tracking shots in there, but they're just a lot more subtly done. You know, for most directors, this is as hard as they push it, you know, with the camera to create that sort of dramatic scene. Here, you really feel Raimi is trying to rein it in a bit, which I think works for the tone of the film, certainly in the first half anyway.
Well, and then he has the weird Danny Elfman.
Oh, yeah, Danny Elfman at the lake there. Yeah.
That's maybe a humor moment for me personally, because I was like, this is awful.
I had no idea who it was, and he scared the hell out of me.
What, really?
He scared the hell. I had no idea. I'm like, what? Wait, who the hell is this guy?
You're a lightweight.
Yeah,
I love you, but you're a lightweight.
I can't do any weird guy by the river with a fiddle. Forget it.
See, I thought
or the bog. What do we call swamp? Yeah.
I think Sam Raimi was very restrained here, and in some ways, I feel that this almost feels as much like a Billy Bob Thornton kind of a movie as a Sam Raimi movie, which for me is fine. I don't really. I watched. I mean, Sling Blade was a great movie. It's like a drama, and there's a kind of a horrible real element to that, but I felt like there were definitely elements of that in this movie.
Imagine this. Imagine if Donnie Barksdale was either Dwight Yoakam or Billy Bob Thornton.
Well, they wanted Billy Bob Thornton for that part, didn't they?
No, they wanted him to be Buddy.
For Ribisi. Oh, that would have been... You know what? I'm glad he didn't do that. Well, for many reasons, but mostly because Ribisi was...
so good.
Much more sympathetic, I think. Yeah. Like, I don't know if I would have had the sympathy for Billy Bob Thornton that I would have for Giovanni Ribisi, because Ribisi just seems so sad and screwed up. And, like, Billy Bob Thornton, I don't know. I don't know him, obviously.
Yeah.
But he kind of has this inherent kind of harshness to him.
He's got too much masculinity for the.
Yeah.
For that
I just
part.
feel like he's in Sling Blade, he was a very sympathetic character, but like he still had like an underlying harshness there. And I think that, Ribisi brought this like super vulnerable, sensitive person energy to it that worked. If Billy Bob Thornton had played Donnie, that would have been.
That's what I'm saying.
That would have been scary.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree with you.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I was just saw it in my head. I'm like, I got to say it quick.
Okay.
All right, please continue.
What I was saying about Sam Raimi is I feel like what he did do with this was bring in a lot of subtle things that really created a mood, and it really worked. And that's something that I think he's very good at. Like when I go back to like a really low budget movie he did, like the original Evil Dead, that movie could have gone wrong in a lot of ways because it was pretty slow. They're in just one place. Like there's just one thing going on. But he was able to evoke a lot of terror in Evil Dead with the way he shot it, and just like, certain things he would show just really would bring you fear, like that feeling in the pit of your stomach. And I think that they had that in this too. It goes back to what you were saying about that shot of Cate Blanchett walking down the street, like with her nightgown on, and another, and like she holds the flower and it, dies in her hand, and the swamp is creepy anyway. And I can tell you that's true because my mom lives, like, her backyard looks like the swamp from this movie. Like, I mean,
that's
you walk in her
true.
backyard, she has those big tupelo trees that are growing up right out of the water, and mossy, like, overhanging stuff, and alligators poking out of the lake and all this kind of stuff. So, I think that he does a lot with like the location, and he mentioned in an interview that he loves like those trees around Savannah with like the Spanish moss hanging off them, which I do too. There's something very evocative of that. So he did really well shooting that and finding good places, and the lighting in this overall in these night scenes is very good. I love a well lit night scene.
What about the scene when she goes into the house and Katie Holmes is in the tub?
Oh, geez.
Oh, my God. And then it's
that was like a really jump scare moment.
Then she's in the hall. And she shows up in the hall. Oh, man.
You see, I didn't find that scary at all.
No way.
No, it's just because I feel like, for me, there's a little bit of a structural, maybe even a pacing problem when you get to that sort of midpoint, sort of hour mark. 45-minute mark, and you've got like the court scene, which kind of, for me, kind of like drags the film a little bit because I feel like you could have had that a little bit tighter, and there was no real surprises with what was going on. And then after that, it felt like when you have the bathtub scene, you have Annie finds Jessica in the tub with her chains on, which I kind of found which is interesting, but then you have kind of the classic Sam Raimi crash zoom on two occasions that feels, straight out of a Evil Dead movie for sure, but oddly just feels a little bit out of place from what we've seen previously with the more subtle approach that he's established in this film already. And it feels like he's itching to do something like that to satisfy his own directional instincts.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I can get that. Like, let's pump up the volume here at the end.
And it just... And I just feel like when there's a few occasions as well, I can't remember if it's in this scene, but there's a few scenes, it might be, where when characters are walking backwards in shot, and it's just like, that's just not scary anymore because something's just going to pop up at some point. Just don't walk backwards in movies, in horror films especially, because something's going to pop out, and it's difficult to scare me in particular.
Yeah, I thought that I have to agree. I can definitely see what you're saying about like, I felt like the movie was really going great, and then the midpoint, I was like, wow, that's a really good midpoint because it's like a real reversal. It's a real break into like the second half of the film. But yeah, then the court scene does kind of slow things down. Like, that's certainly my least interesting part of the movie, because I don't think that these big revelations are that big. And
there's nothing in there that we didn't already know. So
yeah, I mean, I like Michael Jeter
I love Michael
always
Jeter.
Like Michael Jeter. So like, okay, cool. I got to watch Michael Jeter be kind of a jerk for a little while. That's cool.
I guess 7 fingers though, so I was quite proud about
that. Well, I guess you have a gift.
But does a thumb count? I don't know.
But I thought, I did think it does slow things down a little bit because agreed, yeah, there's not any new revelations. You're just kind of watching some things that you already know kind of play out in a certain way. But for me, it was fine. Like, I felt like we did recover, like we did ramp it up for the last 10, 15 minutes or so. And, and then like they do quiet it back down again because like you have the B plot resolution with Buddy and Annie. And that worked for me. The B plot and the A plot come together as he helps her. After all the times that she's helped him, now he helps her solve her problem. I thought that it was pretty neatly done, so I'm okay with that.
Well, the courtroom scene did serve one purpose. I agree with you. We didn't get any new information, and I do love Michael Jeter. Yeah. So that's my thing. I'm like, all right, great. Fisher King, like anytime we can see Michael Jeter in it. But to get to the point. So we needed to establish that Barksdale went to jail. So these court proceedings did that. However, I do wish that there was something else that we had, because the pressure that we needed to add is Donnie Barksdale, degenerate, wife beater, scumbag all around, philanderer, but he's in jail for a murder he didn't commit. So we needed to get that piece of information. Do I feel that there could have been something new that we brought up in the courtroom? Could there have been something else? I think they were leaning on the fact that Keanu Reeves' explosion, which is very much standard, right? This is standard for this period of time in movie making, right? First thing I think of is A Time to Kill, right? Yes, I hope he dies. I hope he burns in hell, right? I paraphrase that, but you get the drift.
Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell.
Yes, like you can't handle the truth. Like we wanted that. They wanted that moment.
Yes,
they wanted that. No, it didn't. It didn't give us that payoff. So no new information. There wasn't a particularly standout moment for the main cast. Michael Jeter, tremendous, but just shows up, for the one scene. Well, there's no follow-up on that.
I do think that will also bring up that part of the problem, in my opinion, with that courtroom scene is that a lot of it is basically people tearing down Cate Blanchett and saying, like, you don't really have psychic ability. Well, we know she does. Like, we've been privy to her visions. So we know that she has psychic ability. So it's really just frustrating to just see these people tell her that she doesn't know what she's doing when we know that she does. Like in the world of the movie, we as the viewer understand that whether it's real or not, she has these visions and they have led her to interpret some real things, and it isn't just visions about Katie Holmes. Yes, we've seen 2 of those. But we also have that interesting scene where she's hanging laundry and her grandmother shows up out of the ether, and comes and tells her, that bad things are coming. And I actually really like that scene too. And that felt like a very Sam Raimi moment to have kind of this granny figure who I think is Aunt May from the Spider-Man movies.
She is,
to come in and say that and kind of, is it necessary to have that scene? Like, did that scene tell us anything? Not really. But it kind of makes me feel like it adds a little bit more legitimacy to Annie's powers, because it's not just, that she sees horrible stuff that she can't interpret. She also kind of has this spiritual connection through her grandmother as well. So I liked that scene, and again, it felt like a very Sam Raimi insert, because it's like this, there's a positive side to her visions, as well as, being able to see these horrible things.
Well, that's a good point, because the gift, right? I thought that was kind of like, in a way, a joke, because what kind of gift is this? This is not a gift I'd like to receive.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
You get a set of nice cards, though, I guess, with it.
From Ghostbusters. Vintage.
Yeah. They're not even tarot cards. That's what the weird part
very
is.
basic.
They're like
cards.
their telekinesis card, or their ESP cards.
Couple of wavy lines.
But
They're the ones that,
But what's interesting about the court scene is that, and with Giovanni Ribisi's kind of reveal that he is a ghost as well, because that, when Cate Blanchett sees her mother, as a ghost, that kind of helps sort of, Ribisi's reveal that he is a ghost as well. So that kind of ties in together a little bit, that she not only can see visions, but she can see ghosts from the past. So I kind of wish the film maybe sort of went down that direction a little bit more, because I think, like, story-wise, it's kind of interesting, as I said earlier in the show, that you have all these characters that are desperate for Annie's services, and the characters don't believe in her and desperately trying to stop her, like Keanu Reeves' character Donnie. And in some ways, I would have liked the film to just develop from that point of view, and just through character development and how these differing viewpoints collide, instead of sort of the murder mystery element, which feels a tad rushed and we said little bit predictable. And they have the right caliber of actors to kind of pull that sort of direction off for me. And it maybe would have worked a little bit better with the courtroom stuff to maybe have that at the end, maybe have it as a proper like courtroom drama with this sort of supernatural element that she has with this gift. Yes, then you're like, okay, well, how do you get to this courtroom situation? But then it could just, use that sort of thing to maybe there's some sort of incident to do with her that feeds into sort of the culture of and the attitude of these type of people in the South that you were, talking about, Georgia. So it's interesting. It's just, for me, it's just frustrating with the mystery element that I just feel like there's another film here that could be more, could even feel even more powerful than it already is. But yeah, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, well, I get what you're saying there, but no, I'll let you go, John.
Well, yeah, this is just one thing, just on the courtroom scene. Again, just something I thought about. I mean, I don't know how you would work this logistically, because I'm sure you have to go through a metal detector when you come into a courtroom. But let's say we went a different way. Let's say, the father, Chelsea Ross, lost his mind when Keanu Reeves was up there on the stand and kills him. What if he just, you know what I mean? Like devil's advocate style, somebody comes in and just blasts the person. That would have been really exciting, because we would have felt like the story ended, right? People like, well, the case is closed now, but no, the case keeps going. So yeah. I feel like that we needed that. They wanted that shock, and they wanted, again, to establish that the town doesn't believe in her gift. But I feel like we needed that shock. We needed that jolt. And if we had something extreme like that might have really helped. Because, I mean, honestly, Keanu Reeves doesn't come back. I don't believe we see the father again. All these things would just kind of wrap up, and we'd just compound the tragedy. And when you're dealing with such personal things, like you're dealing with someone having killed your daughter, and you're this big time powerful person, you or someone else most likely is going to murder this person that committed this act.
Well, and I think that maybe we could consider an external force as being part of the reason that some of this maybe didn't come to a satisfactory conclusion, which is that Raimi was already being drafted into starting to work on Spider-Man at the point where he was wrapping up post on this. And they did give him time to finish it up. But if, he's already got his brain halfway into his next movie, which is going to be a very big budget, very high visibility, very, very big movie, and a comic book movie at that, which is something he's always wanted to dabble in. Spoiler alert for the second half of this show. Then, I can think that, in some ways, he might not have been fully participating in the way that this movie ended up coming out, because he might have already been thinking about the next thing. And that's totally understandable and natural. He does still have his stamp on this in some big ways. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the movie, for me, is still very powerful. And I understand your point. The point about the courtroom scene, Martin, that's a brilliant point. It's not something that I've really thought about, but it's true. Again, I was happy to see Michael Jeter. That's what I'll tell you about.
But you do start, even if you're interested in the movie, which I am interested in the movie at that point, you kind of start to wane a little bit. This is when you like pick up your phone, be like, this is a good time for me to read the trivia. Like, things like that. But there is something about this movie that I still really, really like. And it part of it is the acting, obviously, but I really like the way the town is kind of set up. I mean, for me, it rings very true. So that's something that for me is almost like, I don't know, it feels like home. Not in a good way, but it feels like home. And, I have that with movies sometimes because I have not lived. I grew up in the South in the small towns, but not, I haven't been there since 2000. Like I moved in 2000 and I haven't been back. I either lived in New England or I lived in California. So it's like the first year that I was away from Mississippi was when the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou came out, and they shot it right next door. I was shot right where I went to college. Like they were actually starting to shoot it right when I moved. And so I would watch that just because like the landscape reminded me of home. Like when I'm in the snow, snowbound Massachusetts, I was thinking about these burnt cotton fields back in Mississippi in August. So, there's something about that really works for me personally and feels like home to watch. So I think I'm definitely getting some of that. But I also do love mystery, even when it's not very complicated. So I think that's part of it. And John and I do too. Like we both like that kind of stuff. We're always going to watch that, even if we know it's kind of going to be weaker on the mystery, just because the human psychology of something like that is interesting to think about and dig into.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the acting is so strong, and I do like the characters very much. And I feel that there are ups and downs, obviously, in this. I will give you that. But when you have these really strong characters, I just want to see them. I want to spend time and see where we're at. And I don't know how many times I've seen The Gift at this point, but this is the first time, honestly, where I've ever been like, okay, well, maybe this could have been this way. You brought up the courtroom scene. Great thing. So it's just like, this is the first time I'm ever really starting to peel it back.
We're watching it more critically than maybe we've just watched it for enjoyment in the past. And I had the same response to Darkman. We'll see in a second. We'll talk about that. But watching these movies critically is a lot different than just kind of watching them because, I want to see something a little bit scary and, I guess evocative and moody.
Yes, because and the images from this stick with you. The images of this, like again, the pen in the office sticks with you. Her walking down the street. Yeah, or was it a pencil that rolled off? Oh, the pen with Gary Cole. The pen with Gary Cole.
Very different scene.
Different scene. No, that's hilarious. Thank you guys for giving me the comedic credit. No, I was actually talking about the part with like we get the swamp feed. Oh, that part was really
Is that
fantastic.
What's your guys' favorite scene? You guys going to favorite?
My favorite scene is mine's definitely Keanu Reeves and Ribisi in the street. Like,
it's a good scene.
Man, that scene really kicked butt. Like it's got like this immediacy to it. Like even if I've seen it a bunch of times, that like just anything could happen. And like Giovanni Ribisi's ability to just kind of go through all the cycle through like these different like emotional states during that is pretty impressive.
To go from calm to rage in like so quick, it's just incredible.
and also again, Keanu Reeves like being just really taken aback, like he wasn't expecting this, and even the little kid in that scene, I'm sorry, I don't know the actor's name, kind of, and the way it's shot, like you're looking from Keanu Reeves' perspective as he's pulling this kid up to the window, and it's scary a little bit there. I think that they did a good job of capturing that scene and all of its terror. There's like a lot of human terror going on in that scene.
Yeah, and
which is really well done.
And the kids didn't annoy me in this, so that's a positive.
No, kids were great.
Yeah. I think
that's tough.
Yeah. Certainly on this podcast, yeah. So my favorite scene, I think, is Annie's swamp vision, where she's trying to find Jessica, Katie Holmes' character, and it feels very like dreamlike, slow-paced, and it feels certainly it has a very different feel to the other vision scenes that we've previously seen, and I think Sam Raimi does a great job of like keeping each vision scene quite different, keeping you off guard. With this one, it's more of like a jump scare going into like a close up on a guy like playing music on a fiddle, Danny Elfman, I guess, that you mentioned. But it's the music that really gets to you. It's not necessarily the visual as much, which I thought was great. Then of course that's what's keeps you off guard. Like you're thinking, cool, I can relax now. I've just had the scary moment. Then Rami like hits you with that amazing visual of Katie Holmes like floating in the trees at night, but looks like she's kind of underwater and opens one eye to a scare. I mean, it's not particularly massively scary, but just that whole kind of mise en scène, if you will, to use a very pretentious word. But then of course like Rami does his thing, with his push in. So I admired sort of the structural nature of how all that was put together. Yes, that would be my favorite scene for me. How about you, John?
How about you?
Oh God, I was like, the first scene, like I said, with Kinnear and Blanchett at the party. I'm like, yeah, I do like that.
Pencil.
I do like. Right. Yeah, right. So it's like, no, it's, when they're outside the fence, he's having the cigarette. That was my first thought. Then I was like the midpoint scene of discovering the body. I love that scene. Then I was like, hey, what about when Annie tries to do the reading for the father? I'm like, oh, that's good. But I think after I've cycled through the whole movie in my head, my favorite scene actually is something that I haven't mentioned, which is at the very end when Annie is in the sheriff's office. And J.K. Simmons has to reveal to her that Buddy is dead. That is a tremendous scene with the acting. And J.K. Simmons, like we talked about, did bring some much needed levity to this. And in that scene, there's no joking around. We realize that he takes his job seriously. He really is the sheriff. And he's being caring, strong. Kate Blanchett is really being vulnerable. And you even feel the acceptance now of what she can do with the sheriff, which is huge because he's been really disrespectful to her throughout the film.
He's the skeptic, right? He's like the born skeptic. He doesn't buy it. But at this point, he still doesn't buy. I mean, like, he's still saying, like, you can't tell me that this would happen because Buddy is dead. But, like, he has, like, a real feeling to him, and I like that too. It's a good scene.
It was great.
He's an excellent actor, and this is just him getting to do a little something that really is good.
Yeah, I really like that as well, because there's certainly an ambiguous quality to what actually happened to Ribisi's character before that reveal. I know that you have that kind of ghost element with her mother earlier in the film, but I kind of completely forgot that because it was just so early in the movie. And I was just like... Yeah. Something obviously wasn't adding up with Ribisi, because I'm like, there's no way he came there to save the day right now. That's just like, something just doesn't feel right. But so then when it is kind of revealed that he is dead, it's just a very sad moment, and it makes sense sort of story-wise as well. It kind of possibly could feel a bit dissatisfying with the fact that the ambiguity of like what's happening has gone now. But yeah, it's still a really, really great performance from everyone involved in that scene in particular. Yeah.
Well, I think it has kind of a Twilight Zone-y feel as well.
Yeah,
when like the reveal is he reveals that Buddy has died, but then she looks down and she has like the baby bib that he gave her that she had given him earlier. So it's like, something happened, but it's kind of inexplicable. I mean, it isn't just inexplicable in the way that she has these visions, because there could be, all kinds of mental reasons for that. But this is some physical thing that shows you that some supernatural something has occurred. So
Yeah.
that to me is kind of like that Twilight Zone ending where it's just like, dun, 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 you know. So,
those are the best. I mean, it's you know,
it's
like
always good.
I love that, and it's haunting. You come again off of that image of Ribisi we talked about a couple of times, just gives you goosebumps. Then you go into that scene where there's an understanding and an acceptance of what we've witnessed. Yeah.
Yeah, and Ribisi is just so good to just give you that feeling of just like, because he's just so raw and so unpredictable throughout the film, well, in the scenes he's in, and then when he shows up at the end, it's just like, okay, and it's so subtly done, you just get that feeling, though, of just like, something's just not right here with this guy right now. This is not the same person. You can't really put your finger on it of why it's that level of just a slight tweak in his acting. Is so good from him. So directing score for me for The Gift. I'm not going to lie, this is not my favorite Sam Raimi film, but but I certainly admire like the restraint that he's going with here, and it's a very different sort of tonal shift for him, and very much a different pace as well. So that's kind of really well done at times. I think there is some wobbles, I think, with, you know, too much of a tonal thing that he can't really help but just go too crazy, which is always kind of something that he wants to do in his previous films. So I'll go like a 7.3 for me. How about you guys for directing?
I think we popped it up a little bit more. I mean, this was our pick, and obviously we do like this movie. Whether I think it's perfect or not, obviously I don't. But I think like on IMDb it has like a 6.4 or something, which I think is low. I mean, overall, because it is like a really watchable movie, and there are a lot of really good things going on in it. Directing wise, again, because I do feel like Sam Raimi's vision is there, but it's not in the front seat. Like I feel like he wasn't driving; he's just kind of navigating. Maybe
I agree with that.
I put this in kind of the mid to higher sevens. What do you think?
I think that with the directing, again, just in our conversation, it made me think about it more, how a lot of the things that he goes to directing wise, which are extremely successful and influential, he doesn't do in this. And I can understand your point, Martin, with the bathtub and the jump scare. I didn't think about it that way. I thought about it as like an escalation of the story, because we wanted to get darker and darker, but I can certainly understand where you're coming from with that thought. I think the way that he worked with the actors in this is obvious, because I felt that he had a very light touch. I don't feel that he was micromanaging scenes. I think that he gave the actors the freedom to do what they wanted, and he made sure that they captured it. The lighting is strong. I feel that we have a point of view. I think, I don't know, I feel pretty good on this. I think that for me, I would, I think I would give, it's just hard. It's hard, man. It's like, you
it's hard to score things in general. Yeah.
Right. But it's just like when you're talking about somebody that pulls out amazing stuff all the time, it's like we're really splitting hairs here. And it comes to a question of style. What do you prefer? Do you prefer the broader Evil Dead? Do you prefer this more refined film that really seems to be almost, you know, I'd say an anomaly in his catalog,
I would
frankly?
call it that too,
yeah. I think that what I would go with, because I really respect and like when people try to do something different. I think we're on the same page here with would you say 7.9?
Yeah, no, I'll give it a 7.9 because again, like I still see Sam Raimi in it. It's just like restrained thing, but when you think about it, like he's in charge of putting together this cast, getting them working together, which that's the major strength. Interpreting this script in a certain way, and while I'm not gonna say that I think it's definitely not like a Sam Raimi like stamp on this movie. Like you could watch this and not, I feel that you could probably watch this without knowing who directed it and still not know at the end. Like, whereas if I was watching something else by him, I might say, oh, this is definitely Sam Raimi because of these, things that pop up. So, yeah. That being said, I think it's really competently done. I really do like all the night scenes.
Yes.
And I think they look beautiful. So, yeah, 7.9 works for me.
Yeah, I don't think it's a case either of like studio interference of that Raimi wasn't allowed to like express himself. Like he probably was a little bit restrained with the Marvel movie he did in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. There's certainly glimpses of Raimi's classic directing in that, whereas I don't think it's the same situation here. So favorite lines then, people? I've got a few written down. I know we've criticized Keanu a little bit, but I think he has some of the best ones. Where he says, messing with the devil's going to get you burned. Everyone knows that.
That's a good one.
Yeah, when he's talking about the voodoo doll, I can't. Like, that's when I'm just like, oh, like, we got to get out of here. That's fine.
Yeah. That would have been a turn if, like, Annie Wilson was, going to voodoo and taking down Robbie that way. That would have been great.
Oh.
That would have been interesting. That would have definitely been a different movie. That would have been more of a Sam Raimi feel kind of movie. I like Buddy's lines. Like, he just says weird stuff. Like, he says, sometimes I don't know the difference between my head and my soul. I like that one. It's like, what is he talking about? He's crazy.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wish, like, Giovanni Ribisi played Forrest Gump. He would have given him a real edge.
Yeah. I don't think that would have been a different movie as well.
It would have been different. Would have been different.
I don't know. I always think about the Blue Diamond.
Of course. I mean, and the fact that there's actually like a Blue Diamond, a company that makes like peanuts or nuts. Almonds.
Really?
They make almond milk. I'm like, boy, they must have really loved this movie.
Don't show them this film. Oh, God.
It's like, we're going to sue you. Yeah. That's
another one from Keanu. I feel sorry for you and your brothers. I mean, your mama being a witch and all. if she don't stop her evil ways, someday someone's gonna burn her up. Quite dark. Yeah. But I think my favorite one by far is definitely from J.K. Simmons, and Kate Blanchett as Annie Wilson is just really pleading to J.K. that, take what I'm saying is serious. Like, I'm seeing these visions that Katie Holmes has been murdered. And he says, Dave, I could have sworn there was an eclair in there.
Oh, yeah. That's good. Yeah, that is so like good. The little one humorous moment, unless you think that Danny Elfman was humorous, which I did. I thought that was ridiculous.
I didn't know it was Danny Elfman, like, for a long time. Like, I love Oingo Boingo. I like a lot of his music. But in terms of what Danny Elfman looked like, I just pictured an elf. Yep, that's the truth.
You're a strange person.
What can I tell you?
I guess I'm here for it, so that's okay.
So, screenplay score, there's a lot to admire about this, and I think the characters are really well drawn, and I just wish there was just more, like, character interactions between these two viewpoints and how they feel about Annie Wilson. There was room here to make it go further, and the mystery element was just very disappointing, and sometimes it just felt unnecessary that you could literally just ditch that and the film could still work perfectly well. And as I said, like, you've got such an incredible cast, like, they can carry this sort of character story. So yeah, it's a difficult one because mystery not so. I'll go, like, you're probably not going to like me, but probably like a 6.8, I think.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You may not like us when we talk Darkman, so that's cool. We would give it a little bit higher. I think we settled around like an 8.1. I think for me, it's about like the evocativeness of like the small town life and just some of the things they dropped in. The plot is certainly like just thin. It's like spread very thin, but it's not the plot that I'm watching it for. It's all the other stuff. And all the other stuff is really there for me. So, yeah, I mean, in spite of the slow down courtroom thing, I still think 8.1. that work for you?
It does, because what I like about this is I like the characters, and what I feel about this movie is that these are actual stories that someone saw firsthand and wrote down, because they've got a real feeling to them. And when I can watch a scene that feels real to me, that's very exciting. And that doesn't happen that often. Like, I might really appreciate something, go, that's beautiful, that's fantastic work all around. But it's like, if you really analyze it, you might go, that doesn't ring true. These stories in this that they show us ring true. And I am not familiar with this world, but there's something that just kind of rings in the scenes. Now, again, there are pieces that are up and down. I actually feel that this could have even been a very successful limited series like you would see on HBO, because we have so many fantastic characters. Just like you said, Martin, I want to know about all of them. If my complaint with this would be, I want to know more. And I feel like we got a lot in here, but I would like to know more to round out the story. So I think that, for the sparks of brilliance, for the incredible characters and the scenes that just felt real, I think 8.1 sounds good to me.
Okay.
Yeah, there's just so much more I want to know about these characters, like Hilary Swank. I think she deserves more.
Underutilized,
like a lot of the characters in the police department, I want to know more on their opinions, on a bit more in depth, their opinions on Annie Wilson and her abilities. Yeah, there's so much more I want to know.
Well, I think that's a good segue into acting, because I think the reason that you want to know more is because the actors really put in a lot of effort in creating like this backstory that you see coming out in their performance, but we don't see it on screen. And maybe it would have been nice to do that. I like the limited series idea, because I think there's a lot that could have been done with something like that. And we've seen like limited series that are similar in tone and story to this, but maybe we're more successful.
And one thing that kind of really annoyed me as well, sorry to put another bummer note on it, but it's just I get frustrated when you have endings like in this film where, you know, Cate Blanchett is embracing her kids. She's a single mum, and we know that the husband has died. But like when they go through pictures of what he looked like, that's the first time. I'm pretty sure that's the first time we see pictures of her dead husband, and I'm like, I'm not feeling anything here. If this is the first time we actually see him, you know, I know they talk about him a lot, but I get no sense. I don't get a massive sense of what his character was like. And it's just frustrating when you have this quite emotional, what seems to be quite an emotional scene with the family embracing. But I'm like, there's just nothing there when you're watching it. And it's just
there was a scene earlier where the oldest son was saying that he missed the father and that they never go to his grave. And so then at the end, like, she takes them to the grave, and that's supposed to be enough. But I agree with you. Like, it's really, it feels like surface. There's not a lot of depth there. They didn't really, you don't feel like he's a missing person in this. In a way, it almost seems like she's ready to move on because of the Greg Kinnear relationship. So it does kind of cheapen that a bit. I could agree.
Yeah. It's just like, even if we had the husband show up as a ghost, you know, for a scene, even at the very end, like I understand what you're saying. We needed to feel some kind of presence. I feel that it was just a device. Like, we've got a single mom with the kids, you know, let's get him out of there. Died in an accident. All right, good to go. But, you know, we want to know about him. Great. You know what? Let's just show a picture of him at the end. And you know what? At the end, we'll go to his grave. They haven't gone there. Oh, that's great. That's good. That's good. Everybody, you know, the family's back. I don't know, but that's kind of that's a great point.
Yes, as a person who's tried to write things before, I feel it. Like, you're like outlining something, and you're like, I got to fit this in. Well, just gonna wedge it in there.
We're going.
So, that's what. Yeah. That's what took points off of it for me, is that sometimes you can see the man behind the curtain a little too much there. But
favorite performances for you guys? Who going for?
Gotta go with Ribisi. Like, I mean, he's the obvious choice. Like, Cate Blanchett is like the not obvious choice, I guess, maybe, or sort of obvious, like somewhat obvious, but not as obvious as Ribisi. But just what he did in this was so much more than it even required. Like, I mean, do you know what I mean? Like,
oh, I do. If you didn't have Ribisi, I don't think I would like the film as much as I do. It's because of his investment. And he's like the wild horse in the stable, if you will, right? Yeah. So everybody else kind of needs to be in line somewhat.
Well, he's the B plot, right? He's like the top B plot in this. And so it's funny because he kind of overtakes the importance, because I don't really care about Katie Holmes' character that much. I'm like, okay, she's dead. Sad. Who cares? Like,
yeah.
Oh no, a rich girl who contributed nothing to society except banging a lot of dudes is dead.
Super original.
How will we ever move on as a community? Yeah, like who cares? But like his story, you really were invested in it. Like this guy, you really care about. Like even though he's unhinged and like unpredictable, you just want to know more. And like I feel like the mystery of his story could have been more of a mystery. I mean, they kind of just went right into solving it, but he just takes that part and does so much more with it than even is on the page. I think that was impressive.
Well, you know, something else that's not on the page that I just thought about that would have really helped me out too is if we actually saw the relationship that Keanu Reeves had with Katie Holmes. I don't believe we see that on screen at all.
No, we just see.
I mean, we saw.
Oh, right, we do. We do. I take that back. We do. He hits her. I see the thing.
Just hitting her.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I wanted to see, like, okay, maybe you're drawn to dangerous guys. Exactly. Yeah. What's the deal?
Apparently,
where did you meet?
Because he's good at fucking. You know.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just have to take your word for it.
I mean, yeah, that's it. But no, it's funny because again, it's just like that scene with him hitting her and she hits her head and that whole thing. I don't know why that it just kind of zooms past me. I always feel like I don't know enough about their relationship.
Well, it's very surface and you don't really see much going on there. I do think they needed more time to be able to fill out some of that stuff. But I think what I'm getting out of it though is that in my feelings, the actors did on their own, or maybe they're working with Raimi too. They filled in that backstory for themselves. So I feel like I'm seeing it in their performances, even if I'm not seeing the scenes of it.
I can see that.
Generally, over almost all of them. I mean, even Keanu Reeves, if I don't like some of the stuff he's doing sometimes, or it's very cheesy, it still works because I do think he spent some time like trying to understand why a guy would act like this and what kind of psychology there is involved in that.
Yeah, Hilary Swank did that too. She tried to understand the psychology because she said, you know, if she was in that situation, she wouldn't stay. So what makes this character want to stay with this abuser? So she put some real work in there, and Hilary Swank overall isn't in the film that much. I mean, that's the thing about this film is they've got A-list people top to bottom, and the quickest parts, like again, Kim Dickens, huge, right? She's in it for what, a scene, maybe two, just quick. You know, again, I'll keep going on this. Michael Jeter, one scene. Gary Cole, like, you know, we see him a little bit more.
J.K. Simmons, Chelsea Ross,
It's just
a
like
lot of good people, even in smaller parts. So, like, they're really bringing a lot of craft to the movie.
Even a person we don't know who I thought was tremendous was when Annie has the tarot cards, or they're not tarot cards, the reading cards she uses on the bed that are spread out and says Satan, and there's the preacher on the radio because someone's broken in. The police officer that shows up that is completely dismissive of her. That is a brilliant performance.
Yeah.
And like, I wanted to know more about that character because I was like, wow, he just showed up. He knocked it out of the park. And I was like, wait, you know,
you kind of love that though. You kind of love the guy that has like two lines and kind of does a really good job with those.
Yeah. Like Tom Sizemore in Point Break.
Yeah.
So acting score for me. Yeah, this is by far the strongest element of the film. I think we can all agree on that. So I'll go like an 8.6 for me. I think Cate Blanchett has a really difficult job here. You know, she's a single mum, so she's got to bring that kind of aspect to her performance, this kind of, tired, weathered aspect to her performance, plus being and then having this, supernatural ability and keeping that sort of kind of believable and grounded at the same time. I think she does an incredible job in that sense as well. So yeah, I think 8.6 for me. How about you guys?
We're right around there, maybe a touch higher. What do you say, 8.8?
Yeah, I think 8.8 would be it for me.
Yeah. I mean, I just think definitely the reason we keep coming back to watching this is the acting. The performances across the board pretty much are amazing. Cate Blanchett does a lot with this. She's got a lot of layers. It just shows you again how good of an actor she is, because she's good in everything. So it's not like you're watching this like, wow, I can't believe she did such a good job. Well, I can, because every movie she's in
she's amazing.
Yeah.
But just once again pulling it out and being amazing. And Ribisi is just so great, and I'm so glad they put him in it instead of Billy Bob Thornton as Buddy.
Yeah. I mean, the Ribisi
that would have.
story,
I really wouldn't have watched it a million times if Billy Bob Thornton was Buddy, because it just doesn't have that core vulnerability. I just would imagine if Billy Bob Thornton's dad, again, if Billy Bob Thornton's dad tried to molest him, he would have just put a lawnmower blade through his head, in Sling Blade. I mean, there you go.
Well, I mean, if he did the Buddy character, I feel that it would have been a pallid imitation of Sling Blade.
Yeah.
I think that
it makes sense.
It just would have been like, So yeah. I think that somebody with a fresh take, and somebody, I believe he was only 24 when he did this. Giovanni Ribisi was very young.
He was hungry though.
Yeah.
You feel that in this. He really wanted to show what he could do, and I think he did.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right, let's add up the scores then for The Gift. The Gift gets 47.5. So pretty good. Not bad at all.
That's better than I expected, to be honest with you. We didn't come into this with a competitive edge. I didn't feel I wasn't we want to get the leaderboard. We want to be on the leaderboard again this year. I think we just were we just wanted to talk about a movie that we like. So
yeah,
I think we did that.
You got a good record. 3-1.
Yeah, we're cool.
We're not here for trophies, man.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it for part 1. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out part 2 to see who wins. But don't stop there. Get involved and tell me what your favourite films are relating to the episode. Send us a DM or comment on Instagram and TikTok at Film vs. Film Podcast, for X at FVF_podcast. Plus, we are now on YouTube, so hit that like button and comment there. If you do, I'll give you a shout out on the next episode. Remember, please leave us a 5-star review and subscribe. Pod signing off. Thank you.